Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Mangesh Dushing, working as an assistant professor in Nandgaon College. Friends, in this video we will learn about introduction to the analytical chemistry. As we know that there are various types of chemistries. In this particular video, this is just an introduction to the analytical chemistry. The content of this video is introduction to the analytical chemistry, then sampling methods, classification of qualitative analysis, classification of quantitative analysis, the analytical perspective, and common analytical problems. Friends, what is analytical chemistry? There are so many types of chemistry like organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, physical chemistry, and this is the new term analytical chemistry for the FYBSc students. The definition: the analytical chemistry is the branch of chemistry which concern with the separation, identification, and determination of the amounts of the compounds or components present in a sample. So it deals with the separation, identification, and determination of the components which are present into the sample. Analytical chemistry can be divided into two branches according to what information you are getting from the analysis. Depending upon that one, analytical chemistry is classified into two classes. That is, first one is qualitative analysis and second one is quantitative analysis. The qualitative analysis deals with the identification, compositions of the substances. It is concerned with the what elements or compounds present in the sample. So qualitative analysis is further divided into two branches, that it depends upon the which sample is provided to us for the analysis. That is inorganic qualitative analysis. So in inorganic qualitative analysis, the ions of the elements are separated and identified by the precipitation technique. While second is the organic qualitative analysis. In organic qualitative analysis, the elements or the compounds are identified by the chemical reactions or instrumental techniques such as IR, NMR, UV spectroscopy. So qualitative analysis is mainly deals with the what is the composition of the sample. So composition, what is present into the sample, that is called as qualitative analysis. So which type of substance is there? Either inorganic substance is there or organic substance is there. Depending upon that one, this qualitative analysis is classified into two classes, that is inorganic qualitative analysis and organic qualitative analysis. These types of practicals we already perform into the laboratories. Second one is the quantitative analysis. So quantitative analysis is concerned with the determination of how much amount of a particular substance or particular component present into the sample. So quantitative analysis is concerned with the quantity of the particular component. Right. Qualitative analysis means the what is the composition of the sample, while quantitative analysis name itself indicates how much amount of the particular component present into the sample, that is called as quantitative analysis. It can be done by the different method depending upon the which physical property you are using for the quantitative analysis. For example, instrumental analysis. A physical property of the substance is measured to determine the chemical composition of the sample. The analytical methods are generally classified according to the property which is measured in a final measurement process. So some physical properties can be used for the qualitative analysis as well as quantitative analysis of the components present into the sample. So in this way, we can say that analytical chemistry may be defined as the science and art of determining the composition of the material in terms of elements or compounds contained. So it's a science as well as arts because it needs a skill and technique. So according to the physical methods, physical properties of the substance or components present into the sample, some methods, instrumental methods are classified according to this one. For example, if you are using a mass as a physical property for analysis, then that analysis is called as gravimetric analysis. If you are using a volume is a physical property, then that analytical method is called as volumetric analysis. In this way, the electrical potential, electrical conductance, these are the physical property, then that analytical methods can be called as conductometry, potentiometry, voltammetry, or polarography. If the physical properties like absorption of some radiation power, then those are called as NMR spectroscopy, UV spectroscopy, IR spectroscopy. If you are using emission of the radiations from the substance, then that is called as emission spectroscopy. For example, flame photometry, fluorescence, etc. Next is the scattering of radiation. If the determination of the scattering of radiations from the substance, then those analytical methods are turbidimetry, Raman spectroscopy, etc. Refraction of radiation, the method is refractometry. Rotation of radiation, the technique is polarimetry. Diffraction of radiation, the analytical methods are X-ray, electron diffraction methods. If mass to charge ratio, then that is called as mass spectroscopy. In thermal analysis, then that is called as thermal conductivity. So this is just a classification of instrumental methods that depends upon the physical property of the substance. Now what are the steps involved into the chemical analysis? So which steps we had to follow in analysis of the substance? So first we have to choose the analytical method to be used for the analysis is selected. So which type of analysis we have to do, either qualitative analysis or quantitative analysis. Then which physical property we are going to analysis, then which method we required, that is to be selected. A representative sample of the components and their amount present into the actual bulk material is obtained. So if method is selected, then we have to collect the sample from the major sample. Suppose the sample is large amount, then we have to choose a small sample for the analysis, which contains all the properties, all the components present in the main bulk sample. The sample is processed and made ready for the measurement. Sample has to done some process like purification, like granule formation, like solution making. Then these are the some process for making a sample ready for the measurement. The sample is dissolved into the suitable solvent to make a solution. If requirement is there, the sample should be dissolved in suitable solvent to make a solution. Any chemical species other than the analyte present into the sample, like impurities, which affects the measurement of analyte and causes errors in the analysis, that is called as interferent. In short, that is impurity. It is necessary to remove this interferent before analysis. Suppose some solid material is there. If you are making a solution, some solid material is acting as an interferent, then you have to remove this one. So that is called as purification of the sample. It's very simple. So because whatever the impurities present in the sample, that may interfere into the analysis, that is called as interferent. So we have to remove this first. The result of every analysis are based on the final measurement of some physical properties. The measurement of property is directly proportional to the concentration. So whatever we are going to measure the properties, physical properties, those are directly proportional to the concentration. So according to that, the final measurement of some physical properties can be done. The calculation of amount of analyte in a sample is done in this step. So finally the calculation of analyte, amount of analyte in a sample can be done. Last step is the analyst has to evaluate the data obtained and give the degree of uncertainty associated with the result. So after doing this analysis, complete analysis, whatever the chemist or analysis has to evaluate some data, whatever we are getting at the end. and then we have to find what is the uncertainty present into the analysis with the result. For this analysis, first thing is sampling. We have to sampling is the process to obtain the sample, because without sample we can't make the analysis, either qualitative either analysis. Sample is must. So what is sampling? The sample should be representative of all the components and their amount present in the actual bulk material. This is the representative sample. It's called as gross sample. So from the bulk sample, whatever we are taking some sample for the analysis, that is called as sampling from the gross sample. सो जसं तुम्ही भात शिजला की नाही बघायला कसं करतात, थोडंसं भात बघतात की नाही दाबून, की पूर्ण भात चिडून बघतात नाही. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड ॲज सॅम्पलिंग मेथड. So the process of obtaining a gross sample is called as sampling. So procedure of sampling is depends upon the physical states of the sample. So which type of sample is there, like liquid, solid or gas, that depends upon the sampling methods. So sampling methods are depend upon the physical properties of the sample. For example, solid samples. The substance is first reduced to uniform particle size. So सॉलिड सॅम्पल असेल तर तुम्हाला तो ग्रॅन्युल्स तयार करावा लागते, तर बारीक पावडर तयार करावं लागेल, युनिफॉर्म पार्टिकल साईज, बिकॉज surface area should be same. And then mass of the sample is reduced. We have to reduce the mass. The sample is reduced by using crushers, mills, mortars, pulverizers, and then swing may be used. Suppose solid samples are very bulky, like stone, bigger stone. Then we have to use some crushers, mills, mortars, pulverize to make in a small granules, small particle size like powder. That is called as sampling of solid samples. If liquid samples are there, if liquid sample is there, then the sample must be homogeneous, because if two liquids are immiscible, then they forms layers. If you are taking only upper layer or only down layer, then that is not a complete sampling method, because we are missing some of the components. So for a liquid sample, the sample must be homogeneous, and sampling is very easy. The procedure of sampling is different if the liquid mixture of two or more liquids. That depends upon the solubility. If liquids are soluble or miscible with each other, then sampling will be very easy. But if these liquids are immiscible, then we have to use some different techniques for the liquid sampling. If samples are in a gaseous form, then the sampling of gases is done by collecting them by flushing and displacement of liquids. The liquid must be ones of in which the gas has little solubility, air allowed to pass through the series of filters to remove particulate matter. So if sample is a gas, then we have to use a series of filters to remove some liquid particles or solid particles from the gases. So that may be interferent. So you have to remove the interferent from the gaseous sample. So these are the methods of sampling. Sampling, that is the process of obtaining a sample from the bulk material, that is called as sampling. Classification of the analysis based on the quantity. So how much quantity of the substance we are using for the analysis, depending upon that, this analysis is classified in following types. For example, if we are using a sample more than 0.1 gram, then that is called as macro analysis. If sample is around 10 raised to minus 2 to 10 raised to minus 1 gram, then that is called as semi micro analysis. If 10 raised to minus 3 or 10 raised to minus 3 to 10 raised to minus 2 gram, then that is called as micro analysis. If the sample amount is 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised to minus 3 gram, then that is called as sub micro analysis. If the sample is less than 10 raised to minus 4 gram, then that is called as ultra micro analysis. Sample is very small, like 10 raised to 2 to 10 raised to 4 ppm, then that is called a trace analysis. and upon according to that 10 raised to minus 7 to 10 raised to minus 4 ppm, then that is called as micro trace analysis. 10 raised to minus 10 to 10 raised to minus 7 ppm, then that is called as nano trace analysis. So this is just broad terms according to the how much amount of sample for the analysis, and that classified as a type of analysis. Your sample must be less than 0.1 gram for the analysis, then that is called as semi micro, micro or micro analysis. The important part is what is analytical perspective. What is the perspective of analytical techniques, analytical methods, analytical chemistry? As we know that each branch of chemistry brings a unique perspective to the study of chemistry. We now consider our study restricted to the simple question, what is analytical perspective? So many analytical chemists relate to the perspective as an analytical approach. What is the approach toward the solving the problems? Although there are probably as many descriptions of the analytical approaches as there are analytical chemists, it is convenient for our purpose to treat is as in five-step process. So what are the analytical perspective? For what we are using analytical chemistry, how to solve the analytical problems, that is called as analytical perspective. That can be done in 5 steps process. So first step is identify and define the problem. Second step is design the experimental procedure. Third step is conduct an experiment and gather data. Step number 4 is analyze and experimental data, and last step is propose a solution to the problem. Now we'll see in details what are the analytical perspective, what is the approach of the analytical chemist for solving the problem. So step first is identify the problem. So what is the problem context? Which type of information we want from this analysis? Which type of information is needed? That is called as identify the problem. That is the first step. So for starting the analysis, we should know what is the questions, which information we needed from the analysis step. That is the first step. If we know these two, then we have to design an experimental procedure. So for that purpose, select the analytical method. So there are so many methods. So which physical property, which chemical property we are going to use for the analysis, according to that we have to select the analytical method. Then if we select the analytical method, then we have to establish a sampling method. Which type of sample we have to use? In the sample should be in which form? Solution form, solid form or liquid form. Then establish the validation data. Identify the potential interferent. So which are the interferent present in the sample, which can be a potential interferent? We have to remove that one because they are interfere into the analysis of the sample. So we have to identify the potential interferent as well as we have to remove the potential interferent from the sample also. So this is the second step, that is design and experimental procedure. After that, we physically or practically conduct the experiment and gather the data. So this is the step, this is the practical step, that is conduct the experiment and gather the data. For that purpose, we require a calibration of instrument. If you are using some instrument, that instrument should be calibrated, should be standardized. Then our equipments, solutions, which are the standard solutions we are using for the analysis, that should be standardized. Their concentrations, their volume should be standardized. If the instrument, equipments and chemicals are not standardized, then whatever the data we are gathering from the analysis, that may be faulty. Fourth step is analysis. Analyze the experimental data. After getting the data at the end of experiment, we have to reduce and transform a data. So various data, various tables we are getting after the experiment, we have to reduce this data and transform into the some authentication table or transform the data. Then complete statistical analysis, verify the result, interpret the result. So this is the analysis, which type of data we are getting at the end of experiment, and what is our problem, which problem is there, for that we are conducting this experiment. So according to that we have to verify the results, interpret the results. So this is the calculation part, that is called as statistical analysis. After that, the fifth step is propose a solution to the problem. After calculation, verifying the results, interpreting the results, and using some statistical analysis, we have to come with the solution to the problem from where we are started. Then ask, is the answer is sufficient? Is the answer is reliable? Is the answer is correct? Or does the answer suggest any new problem? Does the answer gives birth to the new problem? This is the fifth step, that is propose the solution of the problem. If you are getting the solution, authentic solution, verified solution, verified result, then it's okay. If not, if you are getting another problem, then again start from the first step, that is, what is the problem, what is the problem context, which type of information we needed. So this is the perspective of the analysis. These are the 5 steps of analysis. These are the 5 steps of the analysis each chemist and analyst must follow. Then what are the common analytical problems? While doing the analysis, while doing the analytical chemistry, while learning the analytical chemistry, what are the analytical problems? So need to identify what is the present sample. The scope is qualitative analysis. So for the sample, what is the scope qualitative analysis, and what is the scope for quantitative analysis? Okay. Another important area of the analytical chemistry is the development of new methods for the characterizing physical and chemical properties. Determination of chemical structure, equilibrium constants, particle size, and surface structures are the example of characterization of the analysis. So these are the new methods for the analysis of the sample. The purpose of qualitative, quantitative or characterization analysis is to solve the problem associated with the particular sample. The purpose of the fundamental analysis, on the other hand, is to improve the understanding of theory behind the analytical chemistry. So purpose of the analytical problem, it's okay, we are doing qualitative analysis, quantitative analysis, or the characterization analysis for the particular sample. But behind that, we should learn what is the theory of analytical chemistry, what is the property of that particular sample, either known sample or unknown sample. Extending and improving the theory on which the analytical chemistry is based, analytical method is based, studying an analytical method's limitations, and designing, modifying existing analytical methods are examples of fundamental studies in analytical chemistry. So whatever the known information, whatever the known methods, whatever the known techniques are available, we are studying those methods, but it has some limitations. Then we have to design, modify the existing analytical methods and to improve the fundamental studies in analytical chemistry. These are the common analytical problems. Thank you, friends.